frame is probably gonna stay there. This guy, you can, move it up or down on the fly. We have all kinds of different mounting options. And I think one thing that we didn't add, is just the partnership to get an investment with Promethean. We're not just hardware salesmen. You know, we want to come out here. We guys want you to be successful. We were talking to Mrs. Gaines before. We do really cool things like have Promethean summits to get your teachers fired up and get them bought in, because they have to be interested in this stuff and they have to be trained right for you guys to be successful. And you know, that's what our goal is for you guys to happen. You guys, you know, we're there for your guys' success. I'm sorry for interrupting.
Fine. So how do you clean these?
So what we have said for years is just microfiber cloth, and I've cleaned some gnarly boards with microfiber cloth. But now we're in COVID time.
Right.
Yes.
So how do you disinfect them?
Disinfect it. We there's a deep clean that we have instructions for. That would be something that more the custodial staff would do. That involves kind of industrial cleaners and stuff. For every day in the classroom, it's just a squirt bottle with half rubbing alcohol, half water, and we just tell the teachers spray it on the cloth first, not right on the panel, and then use that. And that's pretty good for, it's not the deep sanitization, but it's
Right, because if you have multiple people touching the screen.
exactly,
Yeah.
The other thing is it comes with 4 of those styluses. When you're thinking about a classroom full of kiddos, you don't necessarily want them all touching the stylus. You can use things like cheap plastic mechanical pencils with the lead removed. And what we've seen teachers do, or chopsticks also work.
Chopsticks work great.
Yeah, and so what we've seen teachers do is have like a plastic cup that says clean. So all the newly cleaned mechanical pencils or chopsticks or whatever are in that cup. Student comes up, chooses from that cup, writes something on the panel, puts it in the dirty cup so that everybody knows that those need to be.
Or you can give every kid their own chopstick if you want.
Or that.
There's no technology in that stylus. So, I mean, those things walk away all the time. Our older boards, they used to have technology in them and they were expensive. And so we kind of realized that, hey, if you guys are replace these things, you're not stuck with your board not working. I mean, you can use, like she said, an old pencil, a pen without the pen, pushed out. There's lots of different things you can use for stylus. And you guys can use your finger as well. But I think this type of day and age, we kind of want to keep our hand.
Anybody
Thank you
else
very
have
much.
questions?
What's that?
I just was asking them if they had any more questions.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you guys very much.
Thank you very
Enjoy
much.
the rest of your meeting.
Thank
Good
you
luck
very
with
much.
everything.
We have much more business to take care of, but we really appreciate you letting us show up to you guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
The prices range what to what?
From the titanium to the, it depends on size. We've got many different sizes, and then we've got the 2 different models. But if you were to do a side-by-side comparison of the size, at the top of my head, I want to say the 75-inch, I'm going to say the nickel's about $700. Somewhere around there. I have to look. There's quite a bit of a different price difference.
So $500 to $1,000 per unit.
No. Per unit?
What's the difference?
Difference.
What's the ballpark?
The units are about 4,000.
So about 4,000 per unit.
4,000 plus the stand, something like that. Or that includes the stand, I think.
Yes.
That includes the stand. Yeah.
Well, thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
That's what it's doing with them.
Yeah.
All right. Have a good night,
He's
everybody.
leaving the
Thanks
other
again.
one.
Okay, could I take the CEO report? Mr. Martin?
Thank you.
Just really quickly, been following my pattern of praise during this time. Lots of activity going on with classified staff. Unfortunately, seems to use it.
Testing.
Sorry. To continue my pattern of praising staff, just as we're thinking about bringing small groups of students back, and what are we doing with all students, and how is that pattern going to work? Is it timelines? I want to give praise where praise is due, and just acknowledge, my classified folks, specifically the ones who directly work for me and the ones that I work with most frequently. Raleigh and Quinn in maintenance and grounds. They're working with their teams. They're doing a great job of preparing people and going through and double checking protocols and equipment. And Raleigh and Quinn today, we were having conversations about what kinds of supplies do we have available and how fast can we mobilize. And they're very responsive and very quick to do everything they can to sort of help and support us as we're trying to check and double check. Ashley Stovall, Scott Sexton, and Reese Lazat, and transportation, as well as all drivers. We've talked about food service and that, but just in terms of preparing for cohorts of students to come back when that happens. Ashley has been really creative and innovative in trying to think about how are we still going to be able to provide meals, for example, to students out and around the district. Ordered for monitored at this point for restocking and resupplying related to PPE or cleaning supplies and material. And then Tammy, who has stepped up and is supporting not only me, but HR and with district policy and with added layer and new layers of what's coming out in terms of legislation from feds and from the state specific to COVID and others with the family medical leave. So I'm really proud of the team that we have and the work that they're doing, and I just want to commend them for that. Whenever we ask them to do something, they're stepping up and they're doing what they need to do, and they've just been great to work with. So thank you.
Associate Superintendent, Ms. Harkins. Good evening. I want to kind of piggyback a little bit on what Jonathan was talking about, and everybody working very hard throughout the district to make sure that things are safe for when additional staff and students return. I know in my office we have Anna and Yesenia who are spending a lot of time on the phone, attending phone calls. They're trying their best to track down students that might be non-responsive or haven't checked in. Those kind of things. We've heard a lot of frustration from parents, that Zoom hasn't worked or, lots of different variety of reasons as to why students have not attended. And they seek out some different remedies for those students, getting in touch with IT, to see if there's hotspots or whatever the case may be to help out these families. And then we've been talking about math academies, and so they are getting ready to start. We are going to have students on our campuses starting on Monday, and that's for small, it's after school hours. So at West Park, it's 1:30 to 3:30. So they have 12 teachers that are willing to teach that math academy. I think a couple of teachers are doing it on different days, but certainly that'll give us an idea of how things run and make sure that everything is as it should be and as we have been planning. And I think that's a big thing. A lot of times people don't see all the planning that goes on behind the scenes and what people are doing and how hard they're working to make things just right. So, thank you to all of those, people that are working hard and getting those things ready. So Math Academy will start on, we have a couple that are going to be Monday, Wednesday, some that are going to be Tuesday, Thursday. There's going to be training for we purchased Standards Plus curriculum for those Math Academies, and so there is a training on Friday, and that will take place via Zoom from 12 to 1. The curriculum has been arriving at the school sites the last couple of days, so it's kind of exciting. Teachers have the opportunity to purchase some manipulatives, and it's kind of like pulling teeth. I said, hey, let's give her permission for you to order a little something. And I've only had a couple of teachers that ordered something, so okay. But I did order pencils and crayons for K5, and then pencils for everybody. So hopefully that will get going. And then not to leave out Noemi and April, who also are in my office working very, very hard. They are testing all of our EL students, the initial placements, and so they have the opportunity to use the Promethean board. And they've had some students, the middle school and high school students, they had come here, and so they use the Promethean boards. The students can stand up there, and they're real excited about them. They get to touch, they project their screen up onto the board, and the students are able to touch and do those kinds of things. So so they are working hard to get all of that done. I think they still have a few students at West Park that they haven't tested yet, but they are looking to get that all completed. So everybody's working hard. Everybody's doing a great job. So let's keep up the good work and keep moving forward. Thank you.
How many students do you have signed up for the Math Academy?
I'm not exactly sure. The school sites are still working to confirm who's coming and who's not. So I'm not 100% sure right now.
Superintendent, Ms. James?
Good evening and welcome. First of all, I want to, on behalf of Southern Kern Unified School District, I want to extend our condolences first and foremost to the family of our 6th grade teacher from Tropico Middle School, Mrs. Jennifer Music, who passed this past weekend. And I just want to say that to her family that our thoughts and prayers are with them at this time. And also, we lost a retiree from Tropico who just retired, Miss Kathy Webb. I had the pleasure of meeting her 3 years ago before I became a superintendent here, and she always greeted me and let me in at Tropico when I would go there, and she was always such a delight. And so she just passed a couple of days ago, and again, I want to extend our condolences to the family of Miss Kathy Webb. I want to remind everybody that we have WASP visits coming up October 19th and 20th. They're going to be by Zoom, which is really going to be interesting, to both Abe Lincoln and Rare Earth. So I know that Mr. Torres has been working really hard to get both of the schools ready for the WASP visit. So we hope everything goes really, really well during the Zoom visit. I will be over there probably answering questions on one of the days. Let's see. I wanted to thank, first and foremost, all of our site secretaries, and I just have to name them because Cindy Benson from Roseman High School, Patty Galinda from Roseman Elementary, Debbie Heselton from West Park, Vicki Heffler from Rare Earth and Abe Lincoln, and Letitia Watts from Tropico. They have done an absolutely great job, and of course, with that, I have to thank our own Miss Sally over here, because they submit every week to her the participation weekly and engagement forms that the teachers are filling out, and the teachers, we collect those every week. They submit them, and these forms are required by the California Department of Education. And Sally and I get to look at them as they come in every week, and the teachers are doing an awesome job, incredible job. And I just want to also thank our site secretaries, because they make sure that they're delivered and they're accounted for. And so I just want to say thank you to the 5 of them for great work. I also wanted to thank Dan and Sean and the IT department, because as you can see, we have a few of these boards. We've had 4 demonstrations this week, Dan, I believe, and all very similar, but somewhat uniquely different, the 4 of them. So thank you, Dan, and I will make sure that we thank Sean as well for making these presentations. So really it's been a pleasure to participate in. And I believe that's pretty much it. I also wanted to remind the board that if you look over there, you will see new laptop, a new docking station, and a new monitor. And I'd like you all to look at that before you leave this evening, because we are purchasing those with your approval, of course, for every teacher in the district. We'll get a new computer and a monitor and docking station. So we're very excited about that. Thank you.
Board communications. Mr. Parents?
I also want to give out my condolences to the family of both the people who lost over at Promethean. And I just want to say that we're going to do everything we can to keep everyone safe at all our school sites. Also, we hopefully will be opening as soon as possible. You asked the question that, am I okay with somebody getting sick? Of course not. But we cannot prevent it 100%. We don't control what people do outside of our realm here. But we will do everything that we can to prevent it and follow all state guidelines before we open. That being said, we will do, as I said, as much as we can with the guidelines that we have, and go on from there. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I certainly felt grateful for the loss of our employees, and I had some personal contact with both of those ladies, and so my condolences to their families, and they were both lovely people. I wanted to note that these Promethean boards are being bought with special money, not taken out of our general fund. So, for those of you that think, oh my goodness, that we're spending all this money, we're getting money to mitigate some learning loss, and this is a special fund, and this is one we were looking into using that money. And then I happen to know that everything is being done. Mrs. Gaines is saying that everything is being done, and there are extraordinary measures for disinfecting and personal protective equipment is purchased and distributed, and distancing markings at the schools. We are doing everything we can, but you still can't control individual people and what they do outside of our schools either. But as far as custodians coming in and dishes still left in the sink, dishes left in the sink is on you. If you make dishes, you need to clean up after yourself.
I just would like to say that my thoughts and prayers are to Kathy Webb and Jennifer Music's family. I just also was saddened by that news, and whenever we lose an employee in the district, it's really hurt. One thing I'd like to say about Math Academy, I'm really excited that we're starting out, that we're going to get some students back into some classrooms and teachers, getting back to teaching. I think that's a start, and it's a straight path way to go, and I think we're doing good on that. Thank you for that, and for, going to that extent. I'm hoping that we can increase into the cohort or even the ED, and then the similar learning. So I'm really excited about that. If I had it my way, I'd go traditional if there was no social distancing. And I know that that's what it is, but I know what's best for the kids and for families would be if we can get back to school 5 days a week. But I know we can't. We have to go by what our governor says, the laws that we have to, abide by, and by our county. So that's all I need to say. So,
yeah, I want to echo the condolences and agree with everyone said. I also want to thank all the comments from the community and staff. Many comments. Thank you for giving those, and it helps us get the different opinions out there, and everybody's opinion does count. And I'll cut it short because I'm sure later I'm going to have plenty of other comments to make, so I'll keep y'all in suspense.
consent items A through D.
I'll make a motion to accept.
Okay, second by,
Thanks, Lee.
all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Okay, general, open graded model or traditional school meeting.
Yes, reason, I'd like to just kind of refer back to, Mr. Quillman mentioned that in the survey that, was created, there were, referrals to other blended models, not just the one that you as a board selected on July 15, which been such a while ago. That was the A-B distant model. As your superintendent, I would never assume that that is the one that is appropriate or perfect for this time. We are now in October. So I wanted to see to get a feel for, was there something more preferred out there? So that is the reason that was created like that on the survey. I just wanted to always giving the board the option of making that final decision. I do want to say today I had a superintendent's meeting with Kern County Superintendent of Schools, and in your packet you all received something that looks like this, which is Kern County now is down to 4.1%. We needed to be under 8%. They predict that if you look at this document, that on October 13th, which is this coming Tuesday, Kern County will be off from the purple. It will go down to the red list. And because our numbers have been consistently low, I can tell you for 3 weeks now. And the reason that we were extended out an additional couple of weeks is because there was a thought process that Kern County was not testing enough people. Therefore, we're gonna extend it to make sure that they are truly dropping in the percent of people who are getting COVID. So because what they're planning to do at and we heard from the health department today, is that if on Tuesday the 13th, we continue to decline and we stay on, our numbers are low as they are now, they're going to give us credit for the first week and for this week. So that would be our 2 weeks that we have shown that we can maintain numbers that are appropriate to be on the red. At that time, then on Tuesday, the prediction of Kern County Superintendent of Schools and the Health Department is we will go to the red level on Tuesday, which would mean we would have to stay there for 2 more additional weeks. Today, we were advised that should that happen, we will be eligible on October 27 to open our doors for students. Now, does that mean we could return to a traditional model of school as much as, like you, President Sanchez, there's nothing, I'm an advocate for students, there's nothing I would like to do more than open the doors at all 6 schools. But I cannot, in good faith, do the social distancing that has not yet been eliminated. At the point in time where they tell us there is now on the buses, before I had to do every other seat, now I can have 1 child per seat in a bus. And if they're brothers and sisters or family members, I can have 2 in a seat. So they are little by little relaxing some of the mandates that we have seen in the past. So, that said, we would not be able to return at this time to traditional 5 days a week of school. And we don't know that until we have these meetings and we see every Tuesday if we're going to, what the health department says, and if we are really, really making progress with regard to fewer and fewer cases of COVID in Kern County. So at this time, I don't want to assume that the ABABD is the blended model. Would I like to open the doors for a blended model October 27th? I would indeed. But I don't know. As I said back then, after talking to the custodial leads, and I talked to all of them, one of them made a very interesting point to me that he didn't quite understand why we would want to AB, because if we're really concerned about cross-contamination of the children, why we would not have the same group of students for 2 consecutive days and then the next group of students for 2 consecutive days. So I just want to bring that out there to you. If we're really, we have spent, as you've heard me say, they know it, I've spent, he knows it, thousands of dollars on high-tech machinery to disinfect rooms. I have more PPE. I'm always hurt when I hear people say, we don't have PPE. I have more PPE in storages and different places. I have kindergarten masks. I have shields. I have cloth masks. I have hand sanitizers. Squirt bottles. I have so much PPE. We've been preparing for this. We have marked our schools Tim Pingelli and Pepe have done a phenomenal job at marking our schools, entrances and exits. I have signs in restrooms. I have signs telling us entrances, exits. We have really, really done a lot in preparing. I sometimes think that, with all due respect to everybody, I could never do enough. I could never do enough. No one really is going to say what's done or not. But I just wanted you to consider tonight if whether you like October 27th and then again that all means that we would have to be on the red on Tuesday for that to happen. But at that time, I would be able to give the teachers union and the classified union the 10-day notice that we are returning to school, even in a blended model. And so I want you to consider that, but that maybe that's not your day that you think is appropriate. So I'm open to suggestions, and if you still like the ABD, or if you think that perhaps that should be changed, that I'm open to hear your suggestions. I just shared with you what the custodians initially shared that they kind of liked was the AA distance BB. And the reason they picked the distance in the middle of those 2 days was because they felt if I have the same group of kids on Monday and Tuesday, then they have Wednesday to go in and thoroughly clean and disinfect again before we bring in the next cohort of kids. This is going to be highly effective, especially at the elementary schools. So that's just, I'm putting that out there for your consideration or not. I just think that if safety is really what's driving this, then we should consider what is the best way that we're providing time and the ability for our custodial staff to do the job we want them to do. That's really a consideration. So that's pretty much what I have there. That's the latest from Kern County. Do you have any questions you can discuss or information or take action, however you want to deal with it?
I wanted to say something about the difference between elementary school classes that all have the same students in one class, and then high school and middle school where you have rotating classes that we might want to consider continuing with the block teaching schedule that we have going on, where they would do first, second, and third period, in blocks, and that just as it's doing now in distance learning, except in the classroom also. So
I like the idea of going, trying to start on the 27th of October, going back to school. Could we stay out of the bubble and stay on the red? Huh?
Yeah.
As long as we stay out of the watch list.
Yeah, as long as we hit the red.
Because you never know. I mean,
Yeah, you don't.
2 weeks from now, it can change. And I think that if we don't make a decision or a goal, then we're not anywhere. We're not doing anything. I mean, we are preparing and we are doing that, but I would like to set a goal, a date, and who knows, 3-4 weeks from now, it could change all up. We could be in the purple again, and it changes everything up. And I think we're going to have to be doing that as the months go by and the weeks go by, because as changes happen, we're going to have to, remain and make different decisions. But I think we need to set a goal. At least if we do that, I feel like we're at least doing something. Besides, I know we're doing a lot with all the cleanliness and the sterilizing and all the preparation and the PPE and all of that, I think we're doing okay on that. But, I think that we need to really work on getting the students in school.
Well, we never stop thinking. We met today, Mr. Barth, and we met today again with with Raleigh and Quinn. We're always thinking of what could we do better for the safety of our staff and our students. How can we, to the point where now they're even thinking of building some mobile hand sanitizing stations throughout all the campuses for the kids, or the kind that are not just placed on the wall at the entrance of doors and things, but we're always trying to think, what can we do better? We know that it is a little bit different at the elementary school versus the middle and high school, because our middle and high school teachers see 150 to 180 sometimes students if we were in session a day. And so how do we deal with that? And so we're constantly thinking of what else we can put in place to make the safety of our staff. But we know that being said, I'm not going to sit here and say that none of our staff or students, district office, teachers, classified, none of our staff is going to be infected. That the day will probably come, someone will. But again, we can't say that it's because of what we haven't done here. People go all kinds of places at night and on the weekend. I cannot accept the responsibility for that. I have to think that my responsibility not only is to the safety, but our kids, our learning loss is compounding tremendously. And when I get emails from teachers telling me how bad it is getting, there's a lot of validity to that, because they see it. And parents are having issues with kids. And so I feel that we have to advocate for the kids in our community and do our best to try to recover with some of this learning loss that they're experiencing and have experienced since the end of March.
And then like Quinn said, that this next month is a short month and so it's December. So I think that's kind of good that we did try to get started, but these short months, it would be the whole month, trial as a trial basis, and then hopefully that's successful, and then we can go into January and move along that way. And even with the different plans, I think I would like to consider maybe a different plan and the time that we have here when that time comes. I know with that with the AA and then the distant learning and the DB works with our calendar because it's already on a Wednesday, and the days and the PL days or whatever that could be, so we don't have to kind of change that one. And I'm just trying to make it as easy as possible so we can get the kids back in school.
So when's the next board meeting in this time frame?
Let's see, today's the 21st, Sally?
Yeah.
October 21st.
Actually, I would not be opposed to having another meeting next week. And we're looking to do the 27th. I say tonight we set a goal for an attempt to open on 27th. And we relook at the model next week. Let's get more information, because that's what we need to make our decision between now and then, and then see which one we want to go again.
We could talk about the different models now, if you'd like, and
We can if you want to stay here to midnight.
May I pose a few questions, Mrs. Sanchez?
if you want to finish or whatever.
Well, I'm just saying that I know we picked the model of NDAB because now you have the time distance for the kids to pretty much digest what they learned on, say, Monday, and then they digest on Tuesday, and if we distance learned on Wednesday, and then they came back on Thursday. they have a little bit more grasp on what's going on. But on the safety side, the AABB is better because, like, the custodians were saying, they can do a little better cleaning, and by splitting the week up, it helps them. So which way do we want to go? We want to go with the learning side or the safety side?
I think safety is what we're kind of talking about here as well.
That's we're talking about that. That was the comment.
Go ahead and give us your, so if this deep cleaning is going on Wednesday, where are the teachers supposed to be?
That's their distance learning day. If we do a Wednesday,
Right. So the teachers work during the day and then the custodians come in at night. Why can't they do that regardless of any schedule? The reason why we, RTA recommended and then the board eventually adopted the ABABD model was because that was the recommendation of the teachers for the best instruction. And if they're deep cleaning after school at night anyway, it has no bearing as to whether Wednesday is a day off, is the distance learning or not. And I think Dr. Robinson brought it up. It doesn't matter at the middle school and the high school because I've got 6 classes coming in every day, 5 classes coming in every day, 1 every hour anyway. And so you've got cross-contamination.
well,
That's why we need to consider different schedules for those types of classes than the elementary.
And then back in July, when the board suggested that if we could return under the hybrid model, AB, or whatever design it came up with, one of the questions I posed was, okay, let's go and let's start developing these 2 separate groups. Do we have those 2 separate groups of students now so that they are evenly split up? Are they ready to
They're
go?
working on that right now.
They're working on it. They're not ready to go. We don't know.
West Park is finished, Roseman Elementary is almost done. As soon as we have those, we're going to get the high school and Tropico done because we're trying to match siblings. So there's more siblings of the elementary. So we took those first and the administrators, and they have a team that's working on those. We're working very hard. Then what we're going to do is split at middle school and high school, and we just will have to adjust to make sure that those siblings are on the same cohort. So to speak.
Right, the siblings need to be in the same groups, older and younger kids, and then within each period, they need to be fairly evenly distributed, so you don't have
Yes.
25 in one group.
If we took one, we'll go one.
Right.
So we certainly are working on it.
Jim, can I jump in real quick and just say it? Okay.
One more item is October 27th, an arbitrary day is Tuesday. Why not the following Monday? Those are the things to be considered. Lots of things to be considered. You heard me rant and rave about the safety of students, but also the district is on the side of the instruction of students. That's where the teachers need to have their voices and opinions heard.
so you guys said ABAB and then district. I don't have a problem with that as long as there's, we're, the only thing that I had suggested was because the custodians were the one that brought up the question about how, getting a little better edge on cleaning. So, we're listening to everybody.
And Jim, I kind of, after I thought about it, and we did say when we agreed on ABAB Delta, that after 5 weeks we would reassess. That was all we said. That was never out there. We did look at attendance, we did look at grades when at the time came, but we were still under where we're at. And then I got to thinking under further evaluation, and every email we get, same teachers that email you, believe it or not, Jim, we get those emails as well. And some of them, they ask them not to share who they are and what they got going on. But the preponderance of that was safety. Everybody's about safety. Nobody's chirping about the instructional time and all that. It's all about safety. So when we look at that AA, whether it's AABB Delta or AADBB, there's whatever it is, it's that block schedule. Okay, the first day, Monday, first, second, and third period for secondary schools, and then Tuesday, fourth, fifth, and sixth.
It was a block schedule.
For the 2 hours, or
Once a week.
and then you have less passing time. So when we're talking about safety, we're talking less passing time, because that's the less amount of time that they're walking, and then also limited the cleanup time in between. So you're not cleaning 5 periods that day. It's only the 3 and plus the lunch, so the 4. So really it would be 6 on a regular day. Efficiencies. And I also asked if we can do a walkthrough. Has that happened yet? A walkthrough through the eyes of a student with, a few folks on a bus and we go through. Has that happened?
Well, I've been in several classrooms and I've had, but I'm not sure about a bus.
I'm talking, we go through a day with a number of people from the student's eyes and from the staff's eyes. And stress the system. That we stress the system. All of our plans are great until we stress the system. It's the time to stress the system. When we bring students in, and that's what's going to happen if we jump on at 26 October, 27 October, and that is part of my concern. My second concern is enforcement. Okay. It's no secret, I often question whether administration enforces stuff. Often. And teachers as well. And a lot of that is self-enforcement. Because I also get complaints from numerous campuses, people to remain unnamed, that teachers are walking around without their masks. Okay? That's self-government. If they can't even do it, educated folks, they want the rights, they want all this stuff, that they're not even abiding by the rules that are set forth. That's an issue. Now, it's self-governance on them, but it's also the administrators not enforcing standards. And that's always been a problem the 5 years I was working here and the year and a half on the board. And I've always harped on that. Mrs. Hargis will tell you that. Every conversation we had, why aren't we holding, the enforcing the standards? So all these X's on the ground look pretty. All the signs up on campus look pretty. But if we don't got the stomach to enforce it, it means nothing.
Well, we have certain students where it's unenforceable.
And I agree. I agree with that, and that's a concern. So how do we look at that? How do we approach that? But if we are failing with just teachers on campus, we're failing. That's an issue. Because teachers should be able to self-govern it, and they should be able to do what's right. And I shouldn't be getting calls or emails. And Jim, you probably seen it on campus as well.
Not teachers.
Well, yeah, I can tell you it's happening on every campus.
Not the campus I'm working on.
All right. Well, I get notifications from people on campus.
Where I'm seeing other employees without sitting there all day long without their mask.
Okay, and that's true. I'll say all employees, SKUSD employees not wearing masks. Okay, so that makes you feel better. But I'm a little concerned with 27 August. I don't know if we're ready. Do we have plans? Sure. Are they tested plans? No. Can we test them? Yes. I would be more apt, especially being in the middle or starting our second 9 week. I also said before, I'm not a fan of changing things up in the middle of a quarter. Okay, so remember we're going to look at the 5 week to change it to 9 weeks. Well, I think we should look at this 5 weeks for change, which would be the half.
The quarter ends October 16th.
So, which we're there. The grades are, the grades are in, right? Correct? Or they should be going in.
It ends October 16th.
So my concern, I would lean more towards the January at the semester with an AA, BB, or D, or however we can make that work, just because of less passing, so there's less risk. And cleaning will be a little bit easier, because I know if we ask folks to clean and it's not their job, they're going to say no. So that's kind of where I'm standing. But I just think we need to stress the system.
I just want to say, Mr. Tanksley, that I had Mr. Adams send me pictures of classrooms at Tropico the other day, and I'm telling you, they were spotless, sparkling, and you could see yourself. They saw the pictures too, and the floor of these classrooms at Tropico. So I'm not really sure where all these, and I'm not understanding, if we have such filthy classrooms out there, why I never get any word about it. I heard it in an MOU negotiation day with Mr. Tanksley. I immediately said to my administrators, I need to know. That went to Raleigh, went to Quinn, where are these filthy classrooms? And I went out myself. I didn't see filthy classrooms.
Filthy and sanitized is two different things.
Well, we know they're sanitized.
Well, do we? Do we know they're sanitized?
Well, I think it would be lack of communication as well too. If one person's not happy, they need to talk with the administrator and handle it out.
And I agree with that. That's a good input. If you have issues, go to your administrator and allow them to hold people accountable.
Right.
If you're not doing that, that is foul.
Okay.
So I used to be in charge of a baby nursery. I had 16 babies in my nursery, and everything that we did to those children was written on a log. Do we have a way of logging in this was sanitized at this time by this person? And can we just create logs for those so that then if there's an issue, we can go back and look at it and say, you know, where's the breakdown? Where's the weakest link?
I guess from our standpoint, number one, you know, people don't want to rat other people out, honestly. They don't want to get their coworkers in trouble for not wearing a mask or for not doing the cleaning that's expected. We talk about cleaning and sanitizing, but is it written down somewhere that we can look at to see what is that expectation? We can say we're supposed to sanitize, but what does that really mean? It's like I said earlier, that I had to stop at Tropico on my way to the board meeting here, and I left my new little sign on the door saying, needs cleaning. I came into my room and the sign got turned over and it said, it's been cleaned. And yet, some things, some stains and things I knew were there were still there. So what's the expectation? Right now, do I need my floor vacuumed? No, there's not students in there. That was the problem last year. With students there, the floor didn't get vacuumed for weeks on end. And if my sink isn't supposed to be cleaned, just tell me that, okay? Just tell me that. By the way, what % of our classrooms have sinks with running water? Beyond hand sanitizer, the best way to make sure that we're not spreading the virus is to wash your hands. That's number one. Hand sanitizer is a backup. How many of our classrooms have running water? Less than 50%. Raleigh was wonderful. He came to my room the other day. I texted him while he was on vacation. But because we've known each other for 100 years, he came to my room the other day and I said, Raleigh, look at this sink set up here. And how I have to hold over here with one hand the valve so I can rinse this, and then hold the valve with my other hand and rinse this, then get the soap, and then wash. It's a transmitter of germs. And he goes, yeah, Jim, we can't change that without changing out the entire faucet. And yet my room has a faucet, at least it has that.
Yeah.
But it's not an effective setup. And less than 50% of our rooms have running water. So go into it with your eyes wide open. I'm so sorry.
And I have no
But this is
doubt,
what's going on.
I have no doubt that we have a plan, okay? And I know, they've been gone over, they've been combed through, but plans are only as strong as the weakest link, and we don't know what the weakest link is right now. And that's what we gotta figure out. And I'm just one person, that's just one opinion.
So could we get an explanation on the hand washing stations, the portable hand washing stations that are,
I don't think those are very worth it.
huh?
I used them, seeing them, I don't think they're worth the time.
Like they have at campgrounds and.
Yeah,
and stuff?
they're useless.
One of the topics, Dr. Robinson, that Jonathan and I met with Raleigh and Quinn about today, the incident or the situation in Mr. Quillman's sink, using his sink as an example, was a conversation today. It is very hard because the water only stays running for maybe, 9 or 10 seconds. So it's very hard to truly lather up and rinse your hand with that type of sink. That sink has been there for a long time. Where we left off in the discourse today was that we were going to, Raleigh was going to look into the cost to change the sinks so that they would be able to have running water longer to enable the teachers who have that type of sink to be able to wash their hands. Again, these are not small changes. These are, there is water, you have to then you hit it again, and it is doable, but it's not the most convenient sink to have. So that's kind of where we were in that conversation
And
today.
that is, those were put in place because there are children out there who will turn the water on, plug up the sink, and walk away. You know.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, just to clarify, mine doesn't stay on at all. I don't even, that's what I was asking Raleigh, can it be adjusted so it does stay on? And it's not
So
adjusted.
just to clarify, the Superintendent Gaines was hit with a lot of information today. Raleigh did articulate correctly what your sink does, and there are newer versions of what you have in your classroom can be adjusted so that they will stay on. The buttons, like on the fountain right over there behind the board, those you push and they stay on for a certain amount of time. Those can be adjusted so that they're 1 second to, I don't know what the limits are on the upper end. But like Superintendent Gaines just said, Raleigh has solicited prices for the wing or wings in your site where they have the type that you have, and those are coming, they may have come already this afternoon, it should be in by tomorrow at least, so that we can start the process of replacing those.
And these are the things we should have been doing the last 2 months.
But that being
for
said,
2
not
hours.
every classroom has a sink either. So
Pardon?
not every
The other
classroom
way.
has a sink.
Plus is 50%.
2
Yeah,
times a
so
week.
then you have the
Still
teacher
2
saying,
hours.
well, how come they get a sink and I don't have a sink? You know what I mean? So it's always gonna be something, right? There's
Yeah,
always-
exactly.
Right, okay, so you're fortunate because you have a sink, and other teachers don't. Okay, so, and I just kind of feel like there's always gonna be obstacles and other issues coming on. I feel like it's just need to, not just jump in, like you said, you just take it in, set a goal, and I just feel like it could change. And if this changes, then it's not concrete. I think that we can just take baby steps towards it and then try it out, and if somebody comes down with COVID or whatever, we have a plan what we can do. We do the whole, what do you call it, tracing and all that, or shut down.
Yeah, President Sanchez, there is a very clear plan. Kern County Health Department, Kern County Superintendent of Schools. I have more information on the plans. There's a tracing plan. Anyone who even says I was possibly exposed, we know how to advise them on what they should be doing. We're not making this up as we go. Kern may change their direction a little bit, but they're very clear and make sure that we have that information as it changes. Just like this, the state coming out today, increasing
That
the,
can change tomorrow. I mean, or-
well, it usually changes on Tuesday, so probably not tomorrow.
Okay, next Tuesday could change.
Yes.
Okay. So, I make a motion that we take a vote on, returning, back to school when we reached our 14-day waiting period. Or give me that.
October 27th?
Yeah, we could wait until November 1st. October 25th.
Okay.
Robinson, second by Flores. All in favor?
Aye.
3 ayes. None.
Nay.
None. One absent. And I think I like the idea about doing a run. Maybe we can do that, as a student. And maybe have some volunteer teachers that are willing to be set up too, so we can do the whole run. And, so, we can do that as a work. Is that what you call it, like a work meeting or something, or workshop meeting?
Yeah.
You do it under that, yeah, and then we can discuss that and do that. I think we can do that.
So can we do that before the 14th? So that we
Well,
have more time to discuss it?
well, we have to do it that following, today's the 7th, we'd have to do next week, yeah, 14th?
So do we have to make a motion to have a special meeting on the 14th?
I don't think we do, I think we can just say we're just gonna have.
Yeah, because
Because it's a
right now we
workshop.
would vote on having the meeting, it's not a special meeting, it's just adding the meeting to it.
Right, well, it's not like a regular meeting, it's a workshop meeting.
You call it
You call it a
special.
workshop meeting, or,
That's you're absolutely right.
right, right, so we really don't have to, I don't think we need to vote on that, it's scheduled. On 14th, well,
6 o'clock.
can you make it on Wednesday?
6.
You have to do the run?
I'm going to go through,
Yeah,
look at the classroom.
yeah, to do a run,
We gotta do that, we gotta do that in more.
yeah, to do that date,
Usually,
can you do 8?
Yeah, I'll make it one.
and
Or we
you
can
can start tropical, because the traffic next start yet.
What do you want to start with?
Huh?
Yeah, you have to start with us.
I want to be picked up at a stop, whether that stops right here.
Well, we have a stop right down the street from us.
And I want to invite, I already know 2 or 3 teachers who said they would step up and do it. I want to stress the system. I don't want just us 5 walking around.
Right, that's what we said, that we would do that.
And I want it set up where the temperature is taken, we stand in line for the bathroom,
Right.
everything that a child would do.
Mhm.
And to tell you what, I'm gonna act like a child. I'm gonna deviate to see if y'all are correct. Because I want to stress the system and see if people actually know, if the bus driver actually knows I'm not supposed to be sitting with somebody else. I want to see that. I probably should have given that clue bird.
And the bus driver will not be taking your temperature because he's not supposed to. He or she is not supposed to be. So I just want to make sure.
Whatever happens throughout that day, when it should happen and how it should happen, how long
Okay.
it takes. Because we may find out that it takes so long that first period is basically shot. Because it takes so long to get that through. So that's the kind of stuff I want to see. Is it effective? Is it efficient? Is it logistically possible? Do we know that?
So which school
Because
are we
do we,
going to
have we
test
timed
at?
it? Have we looked at it? Just like when I discussed how long does it take to clean a room? That's key if we're going to be cleaning rooms in between passing periods. Because if it takes 30 minutes, we lose 30 minutes out of the time. Or however we're going to do it.
Yeah,
Whatever's happening, that's what I would like to see.
I don't believe Mr. Tanksley. I look at it from a little bit different lens, and bear with me. First of all, I don't believe we're going to be cleaning Tropico or the high school's classrooms, even on a block schedule, because that block schedule should mean that the students are now going to be in.
It works out where it would cost.
So,
After talking to the custodial leads, and I talked to all of them, one of them made a very interesting.
A walkthrough through the eyes of a student with, a few folks.
I just want to say, Mr. Tanksley, that I had Mr. Adams send me pictures of classrooms at Tropico the other day, and I'm telling you, they were spot. Water only stays running for maybe, 9 or 10 seconds, so it's very hard.
So,
Right now, we're going to vote on having a meeting, special.
from us.
Logistically possible, do we know that?
So which school is we going to
At the
test?
time,
The limited number of people, but there are definitely going to be things that, whether we start in October, November, or January, there's still going to be things those first few days that are going to have to be tweaked a little bit, because this is something new. This is new to all of us. We're not perfect at this, but we have to test what we believe we do have in place. And I just need to say that the 14th, that morning, it does not work for us. We have a Kern County gentleman coming in to work with us on our learning situation, our learning plan. So.
Right, but I understand that we need to do our walkthrough on a different day than the board meeting.
Yeah, I'm just saying any morning, we're good except the 14th in the morning. That is, all the site administrators will be with us.
Mario suggested that we.
Yeah, I think that the thing that you probably.
Get the plan in. And that's why I'm saying, do we have to vote on having another meeting and?
Or need to change, because I need to make the team aware that there is.
If we did the workshop during the day, maybe after,
Yeah, I think that the thing that you probably might want to come to a decision on is their teams as well. So I think plan. That is which plan you select. whether you stay with what you originally selected or you change, because I need to make the team aware that here's what we're going to do, here's how we're going to bring the kids in. Are we staying with a block schedule at Tropico in the high school? Those things, I have to give them time to make sure that these things are in place, to inform the teachers, to inform their teams as well. So I think that is the plan is a critical component here.
Yeah, because other people have stuff to do. And we need to do it sooner so that people can do.
If we want to vote on the plan tonight, then we want to do that for you. And if we do the plan, then you can go ahead and move forward and then try and get the workshop going. And I call it a workshop where we can get through, run through the whole system. In the morning, you get picked up with the, transportation to do the day. I think that's what you're saying. And we have a plan, then you know how to direct it.
Right. Well, I not just for your workshop day, Madam President, but because if you go with October 27th, which I believe this board just selected, that is 2 weeks from the 13th. So I need to start putting that into place as well. And but I'm saying that we can do the workshop any morning, but please not on the 14th because we already have a training that morning with Kern County.
Vote on the,
Pick another day.
No, on a plan. We're trying to pick on a plan.
since you already had a setup for the ABAB with the discipline on Friday. So we did back in January. We'll stick with that for now and see how it works out, and hopefully by the beginning of the year, something different will show up that we can actually go back to real learning. I kind of have a feeling that there's going to be a lot of changes between now and then.
I feel the same way, so I don't feel like anything's concrete, so if you want to do the AD, if you want to go with the plan that we have here, the AD, and then do the workshop, and we can have lunch, and then from the board meeting, the next one's the 21st, then we can decide if we want, we'll put the plan back on there, if we want to change it, or look at it again. Just so that we can have some.
We can't change it that way.
It's
5 days out. Still.
yeah, it's a little bit. We have to be considerate of.
Yeah, to change the plan. Right now, you guys have been working on the elementary school, getting all their kids already on the ADHD.
Well, basically we're gonna do one at A list and B, so it doesn't even matter
Which one?
What days?
or it's just, they'll be a part of the
The one thing that Mr. Tanksley mentioned that I think might be of consideration to you is if you look at block scheduling, even though now, with the boards, which will take a little while to get them, but we've been told that we can get them pretty quick. Actually, about 25 could be installed in a day. They have the ability for the students who are at home to also participate in the live learning of the students who are present at school. So that would be, it would not be like they were just getting 2 hours on one block schedule. But if you're a little bit, if you're concerned about the kids only having 2 hours of live instruction with the block, then the AB or AA, whatever, where the kids have 2 days of instruction, it's still very similar. It's still 2 hours, but it's separated on 2 days. that might be
They would be
consideration
three
also.
periods on one day and three periods on the other day. So we're still only getting teaching in that particular class for one day a week.
On the block schedule, yes. But again, the reason that I think this board is considering the block schedule, let's go back to the reason I think you're considering the block schedule, is because you want fewer students on the campus. If we're really trying to address not only the academic, but the safety as well, a block schedule limits you to only 3 periods on any one day, so that decreases the students as well. So yes, and the passing and the kids in the
I
classroom.
don't
Sorry.
necessarily know if it makes it different. My misunderstanding that we were gonna clean in between every period, if that's not happening, or if that's not gonna happen, I don't think it makes a difference.
We can't.
So
We don't have the
so it's not gonna
manpower
make a
for that.
difference, so point forward.
What was that? When we met today, I asked that very question, because I figured that was the expectation that, everybody was going to expect that, it would be done every period, and he said, no, it can't be done every
No.
period, because that's a lot of,
The
a lot of
chemical
disinfectant
itself.
in one classroom, in one day, you know, and.
It's actually not cohesive.
Yeah, and so he said that
People in
it
there,
kills
that's
for, it continuously kills for 48 hours, or disinfects, I should say.
That's 48 hours, and that's where that block
Right,
so
so
come in.
So we have addressed that issue.
The block, or like the custodians were saying, the AA system, BB, is also conducive to complying with that, we're taking advantage fully of that 48-hour disinfection of the electrostatic tools.
So now you're saying that they wouldn't even clean nightly?
They would clean
No, they
nightly,
would, but it
absolutely, but they would do a more deep cleanup, sorry.
Well, I'm hearing 48 hours, that's 2 days.
No, the disinfectant.
That's the
That's
efficacy.
That's the
Okay.
effect of the
All right.
chemical.
So, I mean, I don't know if it necessarily makes a difference now coming forward, just as good as.
This is why no other district is going back to school right now.
Well, I mean,
Well,
in Southern California,
This entire area.
well, county will
Huh?
I said, the only reason they're not open is because county won't let them. Up north,
There is,
they're open.
there
And-
is,
And,
there's
oh, yeah,
no
that's
way
like, Orange County. And Arizona and
but I think this is, we need to discuss this.
And this is why you need time. We can't even decide on a meeting a week from now. Let alone, how are we going to get 400 students on campus each day? We need more time to do that.
Well, the reason why we can't come up with the time is because there's some people work and some are retired and some are not, some are still working. That's why we can't decide on, on a date.
And I appreciate the board's tolerance with my constant interjections. It's out of order, and I apologize.
one of the things that I would really like to see though, is that we, need to look at a list of what we expect each one of the janitors to clean at that.
and that's what I was saying, if they have something that they
Yeah,
have to
that's-
sign off on, and it's done.
But they need to know exactly what needs to be cleaned at sanitized every single day. Kind of like basically giving them a job description of that every individual room. And then, every individual room needs to have a signing sheet that all those things were done in that room. It's kind of like, the Andy dumps or whatever they call it, maybe. And it has a cell somewhere. guy who delivers it, he signs off, it's delivered, cleaned, and sanitized. When they send somebody out to clean that at a job site, they clean, they get out, clean it, sanitize it, and then they sign off. And for some reason, when the foreman walks in, he looks at it and places it's still dirty, that gentleman is going to be in trouble. And then when things is not doing their job correctly. It leaves a paper trail, so we know what's going on. And I think we need that.
There needs to be a concerted work with the teaching staffs at the secondary sites as to whether a block schedule, meeting students just once a week, or a regular schedule, meeting with students twice a week, is more effective or reasonable. It doesn't matter if it's A, B, B, A, B, A, B, but, what is going to be most effective with, I'm sitting here thinking, how in the world am I going to try to provide instruction to my students? Meeting with them once a week for 2 hours. And then what am I going to give them to work on asynchronously for the other 4 days? Or, as Mrs. Bean suggested, with the use of Promethean boards, which is going to require hours of training during my non-work time, integrating yet another piece of technology to try to teach students at home while I'm teaching students in class? Or can I just somehow wrap my head around what I'm trying to get accomplished now with students who are there half the time and students that are home half the time? Wow. We're just getting distance learning figured out now, and this is gonna set us back 20 steps. Instructional.
I'm sorry, I have to respect Mr. Quellman, I truly do, but I have to disagree with that. It may set the teachers back a few steps, but what it's gonna do for the kids is gonna be worth a whole lot. And I think if we lose sight of the kids, we have a bigger problem.
But when they're not following protocols outside the classroom, what is then the response going to be? Are these things put into place? That needs to be done as well, not just with the special ed students, but the general ed students as well. When there's refusals to follow protocols, what's going to be the procedure? Where is that written down? Give us those guidelines to follow.
Make sure that we have that in place. Look at this, we have to follow, for kids who will not follow the directions, and the numbers that are running around with the masks. That too.
That's the key.
But we do have to have rules, and what are the consequences to those rules?
I think, it's nothing, we already have rules and
What are the consequences to be?
it will be basically almost same thing, disruption of the class, whatever. Same thing.
Where do we send them?
To the office.
We're gonna route, where they have to be
Yes,
distant.
yeah, the principal usually has one student there or 3 of them, and now he's gonna have to just separate them and do social distancing.
This will be more than 3 students,
I know that, I know.
20, 30.
To want to talk, that it's going to be a process, not just for us, not just for the teachers, not just for the site administrators, but for the children too. They're going to have to be drilled a little bit on what's acceptable under this new environment and what's not acceptable. This is going to take time. That's why I said it's not going to be perfect for a while. Whether you start in October, November, January, it's going to have a trial and error period where we're fixing this and where the kids learn what is expected of them. Where do I wash my hands? How often do I wash my hands? When do I use the sanitizer? All those things have to be reiterated, and kids have to be, we have to teach them what we want them to do. They're not just going to show up on whatever day it is and be, as you know,
I think they're gonna be excited to be in school, so they want to do more.
And some parents have been diligent about teaching their kids these things at home,
Right.
and some have not. But the kids who've already been taught by their parents will really try to stick with it. I mean, but like you said, it's not ever going to be perfect.
I guess I'm trying to address all the possibilities. One of these reasons I think if we start, if not the 27th, the 1st, but before the Christmas break, I think it's a good idea because they're short months
Exactly.
and we can figure out all the mistakes.
Right.
And then while we're in the middle of the break, yes, some of us will have to work during that time and figure out what mistakes we made already and how we're gonna fix it.
And it would be nice to have these things worked out so that the second semester will run smoothly.
Right. And maybe this,
By the way, today is my granddaughter's 16th birthday.
I just wanted to make a quick comment. We are going to be having our Math Academy students on campus. So, certainly we're going to be putting all of those safety precautions in place with them. So, I think that'll help us as well, because we want everybody to be safe. And just a little trial and error and
So maybe you could give us a report at this next board meeting
after reading
on how that's going.
I certainly will. After reading this, we made some that that we're not prepared for the Math Academy. It did say, like, there's a warning, if they don't go in the second time, they'll be sent home. That's good. So if the parents are aware of it, the kids are gonna be aware of it. And I think they're gonna wanna behave because they wanna be in school. Of course, you're gonna have some that are ADHD or something, they can't help themselves, or whatever, but, I think that's, we have to cross that bridge, at that time, and I think that we can kind of, experience that, with the Math Academy, and see how that works, and stress. I'll be at one school, and, see me, right, she could be at another school, and, monitor how it's moving and going,
Thank you.
that would actually help.
Okay, so we've already, went with the date of October 27th, so.
Yeah, if you, since, we did get the date and not the model,
Right.
should we vote on the model?
You wanna do the black one? Wanna go with the black one?
It has to be a different model for elementary.
Yeah, the elementary one is just a regular,
Right.
maybe,
Yeah, except that we have to do, the high school has to follow because they're in that code. So we have to follow whatever the elementary is doing, we have to follow that.
yeah,
But
so let's start with, what model do we want to use? AB, or AA, BB, and where do you want to put the distance learning?
Well, I think this is learning on Wednesday.
Because that's the.
But that includes for the elementary, I don't know how it looks for the middle school and high school.
What did you say?
With the distant learning on Wednesday.
The distance learning on Wednesday aligns better with the calendar because most of our Wednesdays are where we have our minimum days And so that would work out really well there. But
Really talking about the block model for works better for the
Well,
middle school and high school.
based on my initial understanding, I'm not against ABAB based on because my big thing is bringing in between, and I didn't quite understand it. Yeah. So that's kind of why I went that way. I know if I was at the high school, I too would have a hard time teaching the 2 hours and not seeing them again, just for reinforcement. And it's fine to say they would get online, but would they really? And are we going to be taking attendance? Will we require them to be online? How are we going to approach that? I assume we're not, because they're already getting their 2 hours in their distance day, so I assume we wouldn't require them. And if we're not requiring them, are they really going to do it? So you really get 2 hours once a week with them versus those days, those 2 days. So when I originally talked about it, the cleaning was a big thing. You know, that kind of materialized like it did. I'm not opposed to it. With the dude, who cares? Be on Wednesday or Friday.
Let me just remind you, board, on the staff survey that was completed, and again, as Mr. Qualman said, this was not just teachers, it went out to the entire staff, but we did get overwhelmingly 285 responses. Out of that, on that question, asking them about the blended model, almost 64% of those 285 people wanted the A, B, A, B, D. So I just want you to be aware that is data that we've received as of today, and I'm sure there still may be data coming in on that survey. So.
But can't we move our minimum days to Fridays instead of Wednesdays?
Since we're already shorting the kids' time in class, I hate to have them on a minimum day. Minimum days should be out the window at this point. And if we're gonna have a minimum day on Wednesday, that's gonna have to be different.
But you still need PLC time, and you still got to have that function so that the individual departments can understand where the department needs to go and stuff like that. So you still need an opportunity for that PLC or that professional development or those staff meetings that we're not going to be able to hold them in. That can't happen. So that function, I would say that function absolutely has to happen. Where that is in the week, I don't.
Right now, it's less likely to happen on Friday, frankly.
So right now it's set. We have minimum days with PLC on the minimum days.
On Wednesdays, most of them.
Learning needs to be on that day.
You think that distance learning, I didn't hear what you said. So you could do again, AB, distance, AB.
Yeah.
That was also one of the options you had back in July. And the two different focuses there. On the AB, distance, AB, here's the advantage of that one. They all have kind of some advantages and some disadvantages. The advantage of the AB, distance, AB is the teacher has seen now the entire class on the distance learning day. And so it's not, no child is at a disadvantage. If I taught something to the A group, the B group has also had that same instruction. Whereas if you do this, if you do something like AA, distance, BB, now the BB kids are going to say, well, it's a possibility. They could say, what are they talking about? We haven't had that instruction. We haven't had that direct instruction yet. So from an instructional standpoint, the AB, distance, AB, I believe is better for the kids. What I shared with you a little while ago was that one of the things that the custodial team, a couple of them brought to my attention, which I did not necessarily think of, but which he reminded me that why are we here, Mrs. Gaines? We are here because we have a crisis. We have a pandemic that we're here because of safety and health risks. They thought the best thing would be AA distance BB because they were looking at the cross-contamination. But and that makes sense from their perspective. I could understand that. But from an academic perspective, I think it's important that the teacher has the opportunity to see the entire class before the distance day so that they can adjust, make any changes before they see them again on Thursday and Friday. That's what.
And I would encourage parents to just send wipes with your kids so that they can disinfect the desk where they're sitting themselves. Like a cleaner.
So, yeah, the other side of that was back in July, Mr. Quillman, I remember, felt that if they had AB in the distance on Friday, it would give them the opportunity to make adjustments after the week before moving forward again on Monday. So, as I said, when we did the Google Doc, thanks to Gary Jones, who started the Google Doc, there was a lot of input from teachers and staff members on all the pros and cons of the various plans. They all have some good things. They all have some things that may not be quite so good. I've always kind of liked the distance day on Wednesday because it does align with the calendar. It does make it easy for the PLCs and the other things that we have already built into the calendar.
Let's face it, if you have a minimum day on Friday, you're going to be out of there.
Well, since we have minimum day on Wednesday, anyways, the kids who are stuck going on that day are going to be short every group. So I really think that we're going to have to put the distance learning on Wednesday because of that. We don't want to short those kids the time that they're going to have in the classroom.
So I move that we accept the AB distance AB plan.
Which plan number is that?
Oh gosh. The AB distance, AB, is that the one she's making a motion on?
Yes.
Yes.
Let's see here. Sure.
Motion by Robinson. Plan AB, distance learning AB.
I'll second that motion.
Motion by Robinson, second by Jerks. All in favor? Aye.
And we're going to aim for the 27th.
Okay, and one absent. Okay, so we got a plan.
Okay. Just a real quick note. I've worked with these boards before. They came out about 5 years ago. And it wasn't as nice as this. It was a little different. But the schools that I take very big money to get my people to go to these classes. It set up like they were saying about everybody answered the question, and then they look and see how many people got the question right, and they don't get it correct. You go back and say, okay, let's look at what you guys were thinking was correct, and it's not. So let's go back and re-go over that planning. Since this COVID thing, a lot of our schools have been online,
And we use this same thing, and it's that same, I don't know if it's the same brand, but it's the same thing. And we use the guys are actually using their phones. I use the desktop. And we answer the questions, and we go through it and see what the answers were. Of course, since we're all in the same room right there, we're cheating off at each other. But that is a great rating.
It's amazing.
And it's going to be, if we could get them, hopefully we won't need them as much as a tool on a distance learning scale. And if we use them in the classroom, they are just incredible.
So, we got this presentation, but am I correct in saying that there's different brands that we can look at?
We have looked at 4 brands, Dr. Robinson, and one of them, I would say, I would not bring forward you.
Do we have a committee that's choosing?
Just cabinet. I mean, basically, cabinet has been. I personally believe that you saw the Cadillac tonight. After seeing all 3 of them, I believe it is undoubtedly, I will say, the most expensive one, I believe. But I think I talked to the director of IT in another district, and even though that's the same company, that's not the board they bought years ago. They've been really pleased with the boards, and they bought 800 some of them.
And do we have enough money to buy this particular model for all the classrooms?
Yes, I wouldn't buy for some. We will buy for every classroom, including special ed, and every teacher would get one at all of our sites, except for Rare Earth would not get them. Because we just purchased, because they work on mostly online, the teachers work with them online, but we just purchased new computers for all the students at Rare Earth. So that would be in lieu of this. Abe Lincoln would probably get a couple of them. Pardon?
Rare Earth is stationary there, and Abe Lincoln is at home.
Yes, but the Abe Lincoln kids come in for their hour week, and the teacher could then work with them on a Promethean board. Haven't actually discussed it too much yet with Mr. Torres, but I certainly wouldn't leave Abe Lincoln out of getting a couple of them. It's one-time monies, and we want to make sure that all means all, and that everybody gets it.
Mm-hmm. So do we need to set up a workshop then for next week, since we got the plan? You don't want to do it on the Wednesday, or about on a Thursday? 13th?
Thursday would be the 15th.
I'm looking at this over here, 15th. Do we have to have that? Do we have to decide that now, or do we just, no, we don't have to make a decision on it, on record, to do a workshop? Okay, let's skip that and let's go on to the next one. Approve resolution number 20-21-06, declaring schools open for in-person instruction in states.
I pretty much kind of have already done that. If you look at the resolution, again, it's all pending what happens on next Tuesday in Kern County if we move from purple to red, but you have voted to open with a blended model ABD-AB on October 27th. And so the resolution was basically asking the board to, if they did not want to make a decision to open, because the purple and red list is sometimes fluctuating. I was asking for the board to give me the authority to open school to a blended model once the Kern County was in a position to open school. And so, but you've pretty much already done that anyway.
We voted on that before we voted on the other.
Yeah.
So the motion was,
It
Robinson
was Robinson
and then
and
Gutierrez.
But if it changes, we need to give her the authority to make that decision.
Well, you'll have another board meeting after that. If it doesn't happen next Tuesday, we will not be opening on the 27th.
Right, okay, so it was motion by Robinson, second by Gutierrez, all in favor? Either one? 3, 1 nay, 1 absent. Okay, next. Notice of intent to reopen in-person instruction.
And that would be October 27th.
Yes. And that's what we voted on. So that was, motion by Robinson. Right. Second by Gutierrez. All in favor was 4, right? All in favor? To start on the 23rd?
Yeah, is that carryover votes, it's already voted on?
No? Okay, so it's 3-1. 1 absent. Curriculum and instruction. Target.
We do not have any voting.
Okay. And then motion.
Good report.
Motion by Gutierrez, second by, all in favor?
Aye.
1 absent. Personnel items. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion that we accept as written.
Gutierrez, second by,
Thanks, Lee.
thank you, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 1 absent. Business and operations, Ms. Dean.
Yes, this is the MOU between SKUSD and RTA, the reopening MOU that dates back to the reopening of August 12. And we finally, RTA got it ratified, and so this is just letting you know you can board approve it now. RTA has ratified that.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Gutierrez, second. Robinson, all in favor?
Aye.
1 absent. Approved CSA 2020 between SKU.
Yes, we were just waiting on, this is not the MOU with CSEA for reopening. We're still working on that. But this is the contract with 1920